I expect it would be best to write it in your name as Lord of Lipa.
Quite so, Margaret.
What exactly am I to write?
So, it looks...
Yes, I can't wait. Don't worry.
I know. You've shown you can fend for yourself, but do take care. You'll be traveling as Lord Capon's bodyguard. You'll be there to make sure nothing untoward happens to him. Keep your eyes peeled and your ears wide open. What Berghoff tells you is one thing, but what you see may be quite another.
Rest assured, Father.
And don't get embroiled in anything else. Just hand over the letter, hear out his reply, and return.
Yes.
Very well. Berghoff is at Trotsky Castle. I think you'll find it quite an eye-opener. It's one of the finest castles in the land. It's 3 days' ride from here, so unless you hit a snag along the way, you'll be back soon enough. Any questions?
I'm getting a bit lost in the Luxembourg lineage. It all seems a bit too tangled.
The Luxembourgs have ruled the Empire and Bohemia for almost 100 years now. Emperor Charles brought this land to prominence. When he was in power, things had never been so good. Wenceslas and Sigismund are his sons, but by different mothers. Jobst and Prokop are their cousins. They were entrusted with governing Moravia. But instead, they've been in a bitter armed feud for years, and now Sigismund's fallen out with Wenceslas. Wenceslas also had another brother, the youngest, John of Görlitz, who was most probably poisoned. They seem like a hot-blooded lot. It's hard to keep up with their affairs, since they tend to change their alliances from one day to the next.
Who is he really, this Jobst?
The cousin of King Wenceslas. He's the Margrave of Moravia. I admit I don't know what to make of him myself. Until recently, he was allied with the League of Lords. For a time, he even served Rupert of the Palatinate against the king. And now suddenly, he's reversed his position. I don't know what led him to do it, and one can't help being suspicious. It's best to keep a watchful eye on him. But he really is the leader of the resistance against Sigismund these days. We'll just have to see how it all turns out.
I'm a bit concerned so many people seem to think so little of King Wenceslas. You knew him, didn't you? What's he really like?
Well, there's no straightforward answer to that question. He certainly makes a great hunting and drinking companion, but he can be very fiery and impetuous when things don't go how he'd like them. He never had much of a head for high office. He finds it tiresome. But once a man's grasped the scepter, it's hard to let it go again. You can't just abscond. You've seen for yourself what happens when he disappears for a few months. Better a bad but legitimate king than a bloody war over the throne.
Who is this Prokop that Job spoke of?
Jobst's brother, the king's cousin. He and Jobst warred over Moravian supremacy for years. Then they were allies for a while, betrayed Wenceslas and sided with Rupert of the Palatinate. But after Sigismund abducted Wenceslas, Prokop fomented a revolt against him, and Sigismund had him captured. Politics. Make of it what you will. I, for one, can't make head or tail of it most of the time.
The League of Lords and that Berghoff we're off to see. Who are they exactly?
The lords of the powerful houses. Heinrich of Rosenberg, Otto of Berghoff, Heinrich of Radetz, and others. They're unhappy with the way their influence declined after Wenceslas surrounded himself with the lesser orders of nobility. They abducted the king years ago and made him bow to their will. They got away with it that time, and now they've joined forces with Sigismund and done it again. But now it seems that Sigismund's behavior is starting to rub them up the wrong way, so they may well be thinking twice. We'll see what Berghoff has to say.
I don't know all that much about Sigismund.
He's the king's younger brother and king of Hungary in his own right. 7 years ago, he led a crusade against the Turks and was defeated at Nicopolis. Some say it was due to the recklessness of the French knights, most of whom were mercilessly slaughtered. Sigismund is ambitious and capable. He might well make a better ruler than Wenceslas, but he's arrogant, and to our misfortune, brutal. Not long ago, he himself was held captive by the Hungarian nobility. They dislike him as much as some of the Czech and German noblemen do his brother Wenceslas. Ironically, Wenceslas joined forces with Jobst to liberate him. And now this is how Sigismund repays his brother. There's no doubt about it, God does move in mysterious ways.
Rupert of the Palatinate. That's a name I hadn't heard before today.
Rupert is the Prince-Elector of the Palatinate.
What's a Prince-Elector?
The Prince-Electors are dignitaries of the Holy Roman Empire who have the right to elect the King of the Romans, who would then be crowned Holy Roman Emperor by the Pope. Rupert took the title for himself with the help of 3 other Prince-Electors, even though Wenceslas had already been appointed. Some of the nobility in the empire recognized Rupert's claim, but when he went to Rome to be crowned emperor, it turned into a fiasco. Now he's doing his utmost to get Wenceslas to acknowledge him, but so far without success. So, now we have 2 kings of the Romans. Jobst sided with Sigismund for a while, but now he's switched allegiance. He seems to do that quite a lot.
That young man, Sir John of Liechtenstein. Why is he here?
The Liechtensteins are a powerful Austrian family with estates in Austria and Moravia. Sir John sits on Jobst's council. Since the king's being held captive in Vienna, I suppose it makes sense to have a powerful Austrian house as allies. It could be very useful.
That's about all.
Very well. Take the letter from Sir Hanush, and good luck, son. So what do you think of it all, Sir Divish?
I believe we have written it well, gentlemen.
Without a doubt. No one could deduce from this whether we are Sigismund's allies or foes.
I must travel back to Brno now, but soon I will go to Brandenburg and I will stop here on the way back. By then, Sir Capon should be back and we can discuss how to proceed.
Right. Before you leave, my lord, there is one thing that gives me no rest. Why did Sigismund come as a foe? It makes no sense.
If I may, sir, I think I can explain.
Oh, please enlighten us, young sir.
I live not far from Hungary, where Sigismund reigns. It is a savage country, and the constant war with the Turks has hardened the people. They need a monarch with an iron hand. So when Sigismund felt the wind of revolt, he reacted as he would at home. Only what works on the Hungarian nobles does not work here in Bohemia.
Bringing order is one thing, but slaughtering and pillaging with a horde of barbarians quite another. What purpose does that serve?
But Sigismund did give the Bohemian nobles a chance to take his side. It was only when they refused his ultimatum that he lost patience and took to the sword.
As for the barbarians, he could afford nothing better. The Hungarian nobility would gain nothing from joining his campaign in Bohemia. He didn't have enough coin for a regular army, and so he recruited the Cumans. What he does not pay them, they make up for in plunder.
But in the end, he didn't have enough to even satisfy the Cumans. That's why he raided Kuttenberg and Skalitz. He wanted the silver.
That makes sense.
My lords, how's the letter coming along?
It's done.
Then we can be on our way.
Now remember what we said, boy. All you have to do is deliver the letter, listen to the answer, and come back here. Don't provoke Berghoff in any way.
Provoke? Me? Never, Uncle. We'll be back in a few days. Farewell, your graces. Come, Henry, my men are waiting.
I wish you Godspeed.
Come now, Hal. The Lord be praised. What brings you to me?
Are you wishing you'd stayed home at Rattay instead of joining in our nighttime venture?
You must be joking. I haven't had so much fun since... actually ever.
Really? Despite being wounded? Actually, you missed the best part. When I was hauling you like a sack of grain to the battlements, dead to the world.
It can't have been that much fun if I fell asleep. But you might have handled me a bit more gently. I'm black and blue all over.
Oh, all right then. Next time I'll just leave you to Istvan's tender mercies.
Nonsense. What would you do without me? Still, thank you for hauling me out of there.
Anything for you, my lord.
Good luck then. So, can we set off now, Henry?
Of course. I can't wait.
So, to horse! The Lord of Bergov is bound to be waiting us eagerly.
I'm getting used to it.
What about Rodzig? Has he accounted for not owning up to...
What do you think about Sir Jobst and his plan?
Well, I admit all the scheming has me a little lost. I thought Sigismund was the devil, Wenceslas a martyr, those on his side the heroes, and those against him the villains. I believed we'd rescue the king and all would be well again, but now it looks a lot more complicated.
Exactly. I didn't expect the noble lords to be as noble as the angels, but I hadn't expected such a sewer. They behave like children.
I can't fathom how after all this backstabbing they're somehow still on speaking terms.
I don't know either. Beggars belief. Did you know that King Wenceslas is such a
Feckless drunkard? Not really. And to be honest, I'm not sure I wanted to know. I slept better believing my fate was watched over by a wise and powerful monarch.
So did I.
What a dismal world when you can't keep trust in your own king.
On the other hand, times were better with him here than with him gone.
Isn't that the truth?
What do you think of Sigismund?
If I were him, I'd have had enough of my brother even sooner.
But he's a monster. Look at what those hordes of his are getting up to here. What he did in Skalitz.
True enough. On the other hand, if Wenceslas and Prokop hadn't double-crossed him, none of this would have happened.
No one forced him to burn Skalitz.
That's a fact. But he couldn't let them shit all over him either. Not that I'm defending him, mind.
He's a weasel.
No doubt about that.
Do you know anything about Prokop?
Ha! Sir Hanush could tell you a thing or two about him.
Why?
Last winter, a certain Sir Jan Sokol of Lamberg, a well-known knight, or robber baron to some, tried to occupy the city of Iglau, which was on the orders of none other than Prokop.
And what has that got to do with Hanush?
Well, he was there with him. Of course, that's not something to brag about in front of Jobst.
And what was it all about?
They wanted to occupy a city that was on the side of the League of Lords, but despite there being several hundred strong, they didn't take it. For one thing, they couldn't get past the Iglau women, with their pitchforks and cauldrons of hot water.
I would never have thought of Sir Hanush as such a rebel. And have you heard anything about Rupert of the Palatinate?
A little. He can't manage even to wrest power from a king who doesn't much care for ruling and isn't fighting back. That doesn't seem like a man who has what it takes to rule. And that's all I need to know.
And that Berghoff we're going to see, do you know anything about him?
I haven't heard much good about him, but I have a feeling that some other nobles are quite in awe of him. And his castle is apparently quite impressive. I'll be interested to see for myself.
And what about the League of Lords?
Wealthy, pompous. The king doesn't seem to like them much. He's chosen to let the lesser ranks of the nobility into his circle, men like your father. I admit I don't blame him one bit. But the lords weren't happy about their lost influence, so they put their foot down. If I were Wenceslas, I'd have let them hang after they abducted me the first time. But he gave them seats at the provincial council? Little wonder they're back at their old tricks.
Well, young sir, what now? Shall we ride boldly forth to adventures new?
I never took you for a romantic soul. But, as it happens, a romantic soul is just what I need by my side right now.
What, here? Now? Aren't we leaving?
Ah, that's just the thing. Here we are, about to ride off into the unknown. Well, who knows what fate has in store for us? What if we should fall as heroes on the battlefield? How could I depart this world with a quiet heart, never having known true love?
I'm a little worried about you, sir. Aren't you getting overheated inside that armour?
Look, I can't just go off and get my head chopped off somewhere without first winning the heart of the girl I love. So are you going to help me or not?
Well, couldn't we do it after we get back?
We could, if we get back. Hasn't it crossed your mind that anything could happen to us?
Yeah, I suppose. But I have to go now.
See you later.
I've changed my mind.
How gracious. Very well. I'm not one to hold a grudge. You, Hal, shall be my messenger of love. You shall bear her a letter and a gift from a secret admirer.
Why me? It's not like you to be bashful, Sir Hans. You can just go and tell her,
Certainly not. Carolina is different to the others. She was educated in a convent and needs to be handled with kid gloves. Romanced. I must court her secretly. It's the latest fashion in France.
And who is this Carolina?
The fairest maid that ever walked the earth. Carolina. The butcher's daughter. You must have noticed a divine creature in the marketplace. Unless you're more interested in barnyard animals.
Carolina, I do know her. She's a pretty girl, all right, but, well, a little below your station.
Love knows no station but the heart. And you keep your peasant eyes off her. Your task is simple. All you have to do is get hold of a necklace fine enough to grace her lovely neck. I did have one that I inherited from my great-grandmother. Unfortunately, not anymore.
What happened to it?
I lost it playing dice at the inn. But you'll get it back for me. You're a smart lad. I'm sure you'll figure out a way. And I'll reward you handsomely.
Oh, all right then. Is there something else I should know about this necklace?
I lost it at dice in the Ledechko tavern when I was there to see... Well, that's not important.
So, some dice player from Ledechko won your grandmother's valuable necklace. Haven't you learned anything from losing to Zdena, the bathhouse wench?
My great-grandmother's. And, as it happens, I have learned a trick or two. But that fellow has the luck of the devil. No doubt he'll still be sitting there, swindling other folk out of their hard-earned groschen.
Oh, what's the use? All right, all right. I'll go to Ledechko, find this diabolical dice player and see what I can do. Though I'll probably lose my shirt to him.
Well, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Goodbye.
I hope I can be of help to you, Knight.
I'm honoured that a knight such as you takes an interest in me.
Are you the one who played dice with Lord Capon?
Played and won, lad. Fine noble he may be, but he can no more throw dice than I can read Latin.
I can't disagree with you there. But look here, have you still got that piece of jewellery you won from him?
No, I don't. Some noble rode through here and we had a game or two. Only them dice kept falling his way. I was lucky to keep my boots. He's got the necklace now.
Do you know where this fellow was heading?
He was waiting for someone here, but when they didn't show up by midday, he rode on. He mentioned something about camping by the bridge over the Sasau River. That one before the charcoal burners camp. You might still catch him there with a bit of luck.
There aren't many fords along the river on the way to Sasau. Can you tell me anything else about him?
Fine gent he was, well dressed, on horseback. Had quite a lot to say. Seems he saw a bit of the world. And he had some interesting looking dice.
You said they fell well for him?
Aye, no wonder. Fine dice they was, made special, all shiny and whatnot.
That's all I need to know.
I'll be with you.
Yeah!
Hey, what the fuck? You footpad! What the fuck? You're trying to rob me! Pickpocket!
Yeah! 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 Yeah!
You after something? I'm afraid my friend here won't tell you much.
Your friend? Oh, I'm very sorry. And, well, I don't want to be insensitive, but I was hoping to get something from him. My master's necklace, which he won at dice.
Your master? Who would that be?
Well, Sir Radzig Cobbler of Skalitz is my liege lord. I'm Henry, but just now I'm helping Sir Hans Capon with a private matter.
Those are weighty names in these parts. I'm Sir Anselm of Domkey, in the service of... well, that's not important. I'd like to give you... that is... I'd like to ask you for your help.
I'm listening. Tell me what you know.
I will. And I'm sure it will help you find that necklace. The thing is, this is all my fault. I got held up on the way to meet Alphonse. By the time I got here, I found him like this.
God have mercy on his soul.
Amen, lad. I was heartbroken and enraged by turns, tearing my hair and cursing. Alphonse was my good friend, and it pains me to know he was only here on account of me. I brought him into a certain business matter to negotiate with some people, and he agreed. And this is how it ended up. When I finally pulled myself together, I took a look around and found some tracks. I followed them to the camp of those very brigands that Alphonse was supposed to negotiate with.
Nah, you can't trust anyone these days. So how can I help?
You can pass yourself off as Alphonse. Get into the bandits' camp and find that fucking murderer. And when you do, you'll find what you're looking for.
And how am I supposed to recognize the killer?
Ask around. I don't reckon anyone will admit to stabbing him in his sleep, but you might pick up some clue. You could have a look around for that necklace. Now that I think of it, they stole other valuables from him too.
Silver is silver, though. I won't recognize anything. Didn't he have something unique? A signet ring or chain or...
No, not that I can... Oh yes, he did. Dice. He had a set of dice made specially in Prague. It was his pride and joy. They were red and gold, bright and shiny. Not the kind of thing you'd overlook.
What was the purpose of Sir Alphonse's negotiations? I'll need to know that.
Look, Henry, you'd best avoid that subject if at all possible. Just find the murderer for me, get your necklace, and I'll take care of the rest.
It'll be a bit hard to avoid that, since it was supposed to be the entire purpose of his visit.
True. Well, Alphonse was supposed to talk Earhart into moving his robbing raids towards Benishov, especially holding up merchants' wagons heading for Prague. In return, he was to offer a reward of up to 12,000 groschen and safe haven in Pilgrims.
I see. So you work for someone in Pilgrims?
No, neither Pilgrims nor Benishov. Nor Vlachim, for that matter. It's a bit complicated. Damn politics.
Is there anything else? That doesn't... And how am I supposed... What can you... What do you know? My word. I'll help you.